A short while ago, I posted a video, and in it, one of the things I discussed was the fact that I work a 9 to 5, and I have been working a 9 to 5 all the times that I have been posting these videos here on YouTube and doing other things. I have been working a 9 to 5 and pursuing my art at the same time. And working, I've worked art jobs, but the 9 to 5 is not an art job. I've done illustration work, I've taught classes, and I've done other things, but I needed the 9 to 5 for two things. One, I have a family, and I have bills, and so it was necessary to to find a means to have a means to take care of those things. And so, one of the things is that as you're pursuing art, you're also living. Life goes on. There are other things that happen outside of what you do. So the thing that I had to make the decision to do was how to manage my time and pursue, how to manage my time so that I can pursue my art, so that I can do the things that I love to do. And so that, and then at the same time, I have a family. I love my family. I need to take care of my family. And so I had to do all those things. And, life happens. So different thing happens outside the family, outside the 9 to 5. I had the family I grew up with, right? My parents, I had aging parents. Both of them had passed away uh, right now, but during that time, there were other things that I had to take care of, and so life happens. Life happens, and then even within the family, the day to day, there are medical concerns, there are all these other things. Even just a short while ago, now I was hospitalized, so there are other concerns, there are other things, and I'm doing fine now, by the way, so that's fine. So the thing is that what, life will always put an obstacle in the way. It's either you need to pay your bills or other things happen, but life will put obstacles in the way. I'm going to start from the fact that I had to work a 9 to 5 in order to pay the rent and do all those other things and to take care of my family and so forth. So what I would do to make time for my art was that I would sometimes get up early, very early in the morning. I was younger back then, and it was easier for me to get up early in the mornings, even though I do that a lot, quite a bit now, you know. So, but not on purpose now. It just kind of happens. So I would get up in the morning early and have that time for painting, drawing, pursuing art, and so forth. And for a while that was good, but then I needed more time. So what I did was that during my lunch hours at work, I was lucky enough, and I am lucky enough, to have a room where I work in that it's just me. I work in a copy room in a nonprofit, and so I make their copies, their pamphlets, brochures, their mailings, whatever. That's what I do. And so on my lunch hour, what I would do was I'd close the door and I would just dedicate that hour to painting and drawing. And there are other hours in the day to have something to eat. I didn't necessarily have to have a lunch in the afternoon. I could skip that, have a good breakfast, have a good dinner, or snack on something later on. So I wasn't thinking about food. The art was my food. Okay, so I had, and at about that time, I also started posting videos of me working in traditional mediums. I did initially when I started this YouTube channel, I was posting artwork done online, done on, I'm sorry, not online, but done on my computer. It was all digital stuff because that was the way that I could record. But then, had at that time, I had my iPhone. I had something rigged so that I can record myself, and I started doing things with traditional medium, which I enjoy a lot more. I like doing the digital, but I enjoy doing the traditional media a lot more. So I started doing watercolors, and I watercolors particularly because even though I wanted to work in oil paints, my children were young, and I didn't want to have solvents and all of that around them. So I was working mostly in watercolor back then, and then I graduated to gouache, um, and mainly because it has the properties of watercolors, as far as it being quick to do. There's not a big cleanup. I don't have to worry about solvents and so forth. And it also has this behavior that's almost like oil paint, where I can paint opaquely on top of the paint. I can, I can cover the paint underneath with the new paint that I apply. Uh, so it was a step in that direction as far as being able to control the media and to make it seem more like something other than watercolor. And even though I enjoy watercolor, I enjoy transparent watercolor, and I still do that now. But I also wanted to work in a different way. So I was making the time for art there. The thing is that if it's what you want to pursue, life has a lot of things. It throws a lot of different reasons, like I said earlier, like a lot of obstacles to prevent you from doing the things that you want to do. And at some point, I think that we all grew up, picking up the pencil at some point in our young lives and really enjoying art, really enjoying, drawing. I know for me it was drawing my favorite comic characters and so forth, or fantasy art and things like that. The things that I enjoy as a teen. Then I went on to enjoy, the illustrations and fine art and so forth. The illustrators, fine artists that I began to study afterwards. But early on, it was something that always was a part of me in terms of as a young man. This is what I wanted to do, and I'm not talking about in terms of job. I'm just talking about in terms of fun. Like kids buy baseball equipment and stuff like that to go play baseball, football to play football. I bought pencils and sketch pads and India ink so that I can do artwork, so that I can do the things that I like. And so it was something that is a part of me. It's something that's a part of my life. It's something that I get to keep for myself, regardless of what happens in life, in the world. So this is something that's important because it's me. It's what I keep for myself. So art is something that you keep. If this is what you do, you keep for yourself. This is different than being a hobbyist, and which there's nothing wrong with being a hobbyist. So if being a hobbyist, you can take it or leave it. If you're pursuing this seriously, then it's a different story. This is just something that you have to do because it's a part of who you are. And I had at the time when I was making the time to do the artwork, the other things that I would do, by the way, was in my lunch hour. Some days I would, especially on the days where it was warmer, I also worked near a park. So I would go to that park and I would take my watercolors and sketchbook and just sketch in the park, the trees, what have you, whatever was around. Sometimes I sketched people, and so there were things that I did to make the time, to find the time to, even as I traveled on the trains, there were times where I sketched my fellow passengers. So these were things that I've always done, uh, you know, just to keep on going, and to continue to work in art and stuff. And and then also, one of the things that helped me to keep on going was to have a mindset. And the first mindset was that I was going to work every day. Now I know I see on when that is discussed either online or person to person, that bothers some people. Some people feel like, oh, there's too much pressure to make art every day. Some people feel like that, like they can't maintain a schedule like that. But when I say work every day, what I'm talking about is, doing the things like what I'm doing in this video right here. I'm sketching. I'm not talking about you have to make a masterpiece every day, a finished piece of artwork every day. No, I'm talking about that you're always sketching. You're always doing something to improve, to keep on going. And I don't understand honestly if you're pursuing art because you want to pursue art. I don't understand why someone would not want to work every day. Because if you, I'm guessing that, you would, the dream job would be that this would be your job. Like there are times where I had illustration work and I did that, and times where I taught classes. And, that was working every day. If you're lucky enough to work as an artist, you're going to be working every day. So if you're burned out by the idea of someone telling you you need to work every day, if you're afraid of being burned out or whatever, then you know what? Maybe you need to rethink that, because ideally, this would be as a professional, this would be what you do every day. There was a favorite comic book artist I had. His name was John Buscema. Not sure how to pronounce his last name. Everybody always pronounces it differently. But anyway, and he worked doing comic books, and he would work every day. He would work every day. He would try to pull out, I think, 2 or 3 pages of comic work a day where he just penciled it. And so he would work and on a schedule within a few hours, say 9 to 5, whatever. And then when that time was up, he would just flip the page over and just start making little sketches on the back of the page, just for himself, for his own pleasure. So he was, even after working, he was continuing drawing and pursuing different things, and because at other times he would work on little watercolors. He'd sketch. He loved to sketch, and that was what he did, even after working his 9 to 5, which was art. He wasn't tired of it. He was actually tired of the work, tired of working for someone else, and longed to do artwork for himself. So what he did was he had the discipline to work for someone else, doing what they asked and getting paid for it. And then when that was done on the day, according to his schedule, he would continue to sketch, draw, just for himself. So, and that's a professional. That's someone who loves what he does, and even when he has to discipline himself to do to make the money doing this thing, and not really enjoying it, he would take the time to again just just continue to draw or paint for his own enjoyment, the things that he liked to do. So I had that mindset of working every day. I also had the mindset that I needed to um, I needed to make each drawing better than the last. Drawing or painting, whatever I'm working at. The thing is to pursue getting better, because it's aimless to just draw every day for the sake of drawing. You can make a bad drawing every day and say, I just got that time in. But the whole thing about is improving. Now, some people also talk about how, I worked, I was drawing every day, and I didn't see any improvement. At the end of the day, I was just, well, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that you're going to change everything at the end of the day. Actually, it's over time. So what you're doing is you're making a commitment to improve. That's why I added that drawing, make each drawing better than the last mentality, so that I'm pursuing something. And then at the same time, I'm looking at other artwork, the artwork that inspires me, not to copy, other than, to make a copy to learn or something like that, but to learn from someone else, to add to what I'm doing or trying to pursue. Like if I see the way someone solves drawing a hand, hands are a difficult thing to draw. So you're going to look at the way other artists do. You're going to look at the artists that you like. You're going to pursue art that way. You can also, in addition to all of this, taking classes. Even as I taught, I was taking classes because there was nothing like drawing from the model, drawing from life, and just having something to pursue in terms of, what, you just don't randomly pick out a class, unless it's just a life drawing class or something like that. But if you want to learn from an instructor, then you pick a specific instructor whose work appeals to you and who you think you can learn something from. So, there's always that pursuing. Now, if you work a 9 to 5, you may not have the time to take a class, but you have the time to read a book. You have the time to go to the museum. You have the time to go to galleries, which are all the things that I did as well. You know, I pursued it every way that I can. I made the time for it. If you can make the time to go to the movies, you can make the time to do artwork. If you can make the time for a whole bunch of other pursuits. Like one of the things, I love baseball. A big Yankees fan, love baseball. And but what I started to realizing is that I put in 2 hours or two plus hours, say like 3 hours or so, watching a baseball game, and all I'm doing is sitting down and watching a baseball game. And it's fun, but I could have spent that 2 hours or 3 hours more productively. So I started to not be such a spectator in terms of, what, if or if I'm watching, like I normally would watch a baseball game on my computer screen, because everybody else has got their own TV, whatever, in my household. And so while I'm watching it on the screen, I'm also sketching, so I'm doing something, and I'm not just sitting there. So if you have time to watch TV, to watch a movie, to do other things, then you know what, you can make that time or incorporate your art into that time. The whole thing is that if you want to pursue, the 9 to 5 isn't the only obstacle. Life is an obstacle. So you're going to have to find ways of making that time to do your art. And then other things that I used to do was, or that I still do, was at the time, the materials I used were very portable. The watercolors, I used to use wash pencils. There's a graphite pencils where it's water soluble, and you can just I used what you call the Niji brush, and that was a brush with a cartridge where you can put ink or watercolor or paint or whatever, or water. So I used it for water. So I would draw with these water soluble pencils and then use the Niji brush to go over it, and that way I made these quick sketches. you know and that the same thing. They had not only the black graphite pencils, they also had watercolor pencils, to work on the same thing. So I would use materials that were portable, and that helped me to be able to draw easily, like on the subway, in the park, wherever. So the thing is, in all that time, I'm still working a 9 to 5. In that time, I had participated in group shows. I had didn't win any awards yet or whatever. Honorable mention I did get, but I taught art. I taught 2 classes over at Penn Studio Art School, where I taught portrait painting and gouache, and I taught other classes, and I also have something in the works which hopefully will come to fruition soon. As far as teaching, and I did illustration work now and then. Work would just come to me, as I kept posting online and so forth, or word of mouth got around, so I got it both ways. Word of mouth, a friend recommended me, another one, actually 2 friends recommended me for 2 different jobs, and another one I got where people saw my work online and contacted me, and so I got some freelance work in there too. So I mean, different things happen, and I was able to take care of that, but it was nothing to live on. I'm still pursuing art. I'm still working my 9 to 5. The whole thing is about time management, and if it's the thing that you want to do, if it's that thing that you can keep to yourself, if art you want to keep to yourself, there are different things that people pursue that are not art that they keep to themselves. Could be something as simple as the music that they hear and they make time to enjoy their music, or whatever, or it could be any number of things. You know, there's something there's some things that you keep to yourself. There's so many people that I know that work a 9 to 5 and they pursue other things, not as professionals, but as leisure. But the thing is that it doesn't matter what it is. They find the time to do the thing that they enjoy. My brother worked a 9 to 5. On the weekends, he played baseball. He played with with not a semi-pro, but a kind of like a baseball league, or softball league or something like that. So you can make time to do the things that you enjoy. You can make time to do your art. You can make time to draw every day. Doesn't have to take hours. Can take you can do these sketches in a few minutes or whatever. These are the type of sketches that I would do in the morning. And then I would. And the thing is that when you do a little, and you do it consistently, and you do it with the discipline, then your ambition begins to grow, and you start finding ways of doing more. If you do a little and you pursue it, it will become a lot. And the thing about the growth, I don't know if I ever finished that, but the whole idea about it takes a while to see growth. It may take a year, it may take a few months, it may take, whatever. But that's the way growth works. You don't see it the very day. You don't see it maybe in a week. Maybe in a month you don't see it. But eventually you do see it, and it does manifest itself. One of the things that Norman Rockwell used to do as an illustrator, he would take, after a year or two, he would take the work that he had completed and just post it up in his studio and look through it to see how he grew in that period of time. If you keep track of it on a daily basis, you're going to be discouraged because it's a slow process. But if you just continue to pursue it, then maybe after say a year, you look back, you'll see the progress. You'll see the change. But don't look at it from day to day. It's kind of when you're trying to lose weight. See the progress. You're going to see the progress only after some time. So you'll just get discouraged if you're standing in front of a mirror every day or you're weighing yourself every day and you won't see the change, you know, down the line. So my encouragement to you is to say, is to say this, that practice every day. You will grow eventually, and it will sneak up on you, and you'll begin to appreciate the discipline that you put into your daily practice. Eventually, you'll see the improvement. It might not take, the same day. It might not take a week. It might not take a month. You'll see the progress. You'll really see the progress over the years, because doing this is making that commitment to doing the artwork every day, to pursuing art on a daily basis. So I hope this doesn't discourage anybody. I hope it encourages you that a change will come. It's inevitable, but enjoy the ride, enjoy the learning, enjoy the process, And then if there's any questions you want me to expound on anything further, just go ahead and make comments or any suggestions that you might have, in regards to disciplining yourself. There may be ways that you've come up with pursuing art that you have found to be effective as well. So if that's the case, you go ahead and share that. I shared from my own experience and from what I've learned from the people that I admire the most, that this is how they pursued art, this is what they did, and this is what I do in order to be better at what it is that I do. So hopefully this helps, and again, you can leave your comments below, and I will answer them, and I'll read them and answer them, and so forth. So up until next video, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.